Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of State, John F. Kerry, Special Advisor for Faith-Based Community Initiatives, Sean Casey, and the Executive Director of the White House Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships, Melissa Rogers.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Please be seated. Thank you very, very much. Sorry to be a moment late. I apologize. Really delighted to be here this morning for this singular, historic initiative. And it's a great pleasure for me to be able to take part in this. I'm convinced that all of you will agree that one of the toughest challenges that we face in terms of global diplomacy and relationships around the world between peoples nowadays, from sectarian strife to the challenges of many intractable frozen conflicts, to the challenges of simply understanding people, one people to another, or even monumental challenges like the sectarian strife that we see tearing countries and regions apart, as well as the enormous challenges of things like global climate change, which really is a challenge to our responsibilities as the guardians, safeguarders of God's creation. As Secretary of State, and before that, as a senator for 29 years, I have met with faith-based leaders all across the world. Had the privilege, obviously, of running for President of the United States, met with many members of our faith-based community here in our country. And I have met with people of all religions and of all life philosophies and belief systems. And that experience has only reaffirmed my belief that there is much more that unites us and should unite us than divides us. Gandhi called the world's religions beautiful flowers from the same garden. And I had the privilege of giving an address at Yale University a number of years ago to a gathering of evangelicals from around America and imams, muftis, ayatollahs, clerics from the Muslim world. An improbable gathering, you might think, at first blush. And for 3 days, people worked and struggled with the effort to find the common ground. And there is common ground between the Abrahamic faiths, and in fact, between the Abrahamic faiths and all religions and philosophies, whether you're talking about Hindu or Confucianism or any other of the many of the world's different approaches to our existence here on the planet and to our relationship with the Supreme Being. All of these faiths are virtuous, and they are, in fact, most of them tied together by the Golden Rule, as well as fundamental concerns about the human condition, about poverty, about relationships between people, our responsibilities each to each other. And they all come from the same human heart. As leaders and citizens, particularly people in public life, everybody talks about how we draw strength from the example of our faith communities, but not enough people actually translate those words into actions or policies or life philosophies. And so I think whether it's our teachers, our activists, our religious leaders who work to heal, we learn a great deal, which stands in stark contrast to violent extremists who seek to destroy and never talk about building a school or a community or providing health care or succor to anybody. So we need to recognize that in a world where people of all faiths are migrating and mingling like never before, where we are this global community, which we always talk about, we ignore the global impact of religion, in my judgment, at our peril. I've talked at length with people like King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia, or even King Abdullah, Prince Ghazi of Jordan, and others who are engaged in interfaith efforts, all of whom recognize that their religion, Islam, has to a large measure been hijacked by people who have no real depth with respect to what the faith in fact preaches, but who interpret it in ways that lead people to conflict and even to violence. So it's not really enough just to talk about a better dialogue. I think we have to stand up and deliver one. And that's why I'm very proud today to announce the creation of the Office of Faith-Based Community Initiatives here at the State Department. Its mission is as clear as it is compelling. It is to engage more closely with faith communities around the world, with the belief that we need to partner with them to solve global challenges, and there is an enormous partnership, I believe, there for the asking. Many of you know that we already have a number of leaders here at the State Department that work on issues related to religion, including our ambassador at large for international religious freedom. I want to say that I have great respect for and enormous gratitude for their efforts, and these leaders are important and will remain equally as important. But I believe that their work will be enhanced by this effort. And the Office of Faith-Based Community Initiatives will grow our ability to be able to reach out to more communities and to create greater understanding between peoples and countries. The office grows out of the recommendations of the State Department's Religion and Foreign Policy Working Group, and I want to thank its members, many of whom are here today, for their leadership. It also grows out of the U.S. strategy on religious leader and faith community engagement, which underscores the Obama administration's commitment to working with communities of faith to advance our shared goals. And you will hear in a moment from our representative from the White House with respect to that. The engagement that I'm talking about is a two-way street. Our job at the State Department is not just to proclaim or to stand up and pontificate about the things that we want. We have to listen to people about the things that they want. And everybody here today has played a valuable role in promoting the development of countries, or preventing conflict, advancing human dignity all across the globe. So we launched this office with a clear intent to keep our door open and to work as cooperatively as possible with all of you. I am genuinely excited about the possibilities of this. Around the world, from Egypt to Ethiopia, from Peru to Pakistan, religious leaders every day are taking on some of the toughest challenges that we face. They're healing communities. They're providing counsel to families. They're working in partnership with governments for the enduring health of our planet and its people. So I say to my fellow State Department employees, all of them, wherever you are, I want to reinforce a simple message. I want you to go out and engage religious leaders and faith-based communities in our day-to-day work. Build strong relationships with them and listen to their insights and understand the important contributions that they can make individually and that we can make together. You will have the support of this department in doing so, and you will have great leadership from my friend, Dr. John Kerry, who is going to lead the charge to integrate our engagement with faith communities with our diplomacy and with our development work. I met Sean back in 2005. Mike McCurry, who I see sitting back here, introduced us at a dinner. We became friends in that process and pilgrims on a similar mission, if you will. A professor of theology who has always been interested in politics, and a politician who has always had a lifelong interest in religion. In fact, if I went back to college today, I think I would probably major in comparative religion, because that's how integrated it is in everything that we are working on and deciding and thinking about in life today. We've had many top discussions together about these, and over the years I've come to appreciate Sean as a deeply thoughtful person who cares about the place of faith in our public life. And I want to emphasize this to everybody, because I know the question will be out there. Is this sort of a departure from the norm? No. We approach this with the full recognition and understanding of Thomas Jefferson's understanding and admonition about the wall of separation between church and state. But what we are doing is guided by the conviction that we have to find ways to translate our faiths into efforts that unify for the greater good. That can be done without crossing any lines whatsoever. One of my favorite passages from the Scripture sums up what Sean and I think this effort is really all about. It's a familiar Gospel of Mark in which Jesus says to his disciples, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for the many." I believe that public leadership is now and always has been and should be a form of service. It requires a bona fide effort to give to others and to do for others. And it is the kind of commitment that Sean has exemplified throughout his life, which has been selfless and devoted and heartfelt. So each of us, I believe, needs to do our best to answer this call of service and to help each other to hear it in a common spirit of obedience, humility, and love. I'm enormously grateful that Sean has answered that call, that he has been willing to come here to the department to help us integrate these policies and really to magnify, augment, grow our capacity to meet the challenges of this planet. No one would sit here today or anywhere else and suggest that we're doing such a good job everywhere that we don't need to bring more people to the table. It is clear, with the numbers of failed states and failing states and growing youthful populations around the world who feel disenfranchised and disconnected and unable to find jobs or get the education they need, we have work to do together, and we need everybody at the table, and that's what this is about. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sean Casey.